What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We are here for another installment of our Formula One 24 driver career mode. This is episode 18. We're heading into the Singapore Grand Prix as we got 3 races left in the season. We got this one, and then we got Vegas up next, and then the season finale in Abu Dhabi. So we're currently sitting in P9 in the Drivers' Championship, which is pretty good, and we are just getting prepped for the Singapore Grand Prix. Getting this front nose cone structure upgrade is a major upgrade. Hopefully we can have it ready, I think before the Vegas Grand Prix, it said. If not, we should have it by the time we get to Abu Dhabi. I have realized a little bit, or seen, we are struggling trying to get a good amount of resource points, and the upgrades are harder to come by now as they're getting a little bit more expensive. But heading into the Singapore Grand Prix, we're right in the middle of the pack with the 6th fastest car, slightly above VCarb, and then there's a pretty large gap up to Aston Martin, so I guess we're definitively in the middle of the pack. So we definitely got to keep our eye on that as we approach the end of the season, because we are heading into, I guess, free agency, you can call it. We only have a 1-year deal with Haas. So again, we're gonna have to pay attention, see where all the teams are at in terms of development if we decide to leave Haas. But we're definitely not going to be going to any of the lower end teams. We're going to be trying to look for a step up if we decide to move at all. But we are here now for qualifying in Singapore, and Q1 is going to be going pretty well for us. A little bit of a spoiler, but that's just because I want to mention, if you guys have not seen the last video, be sure to go watch that, as we were at the Italian Grand Prix. And before I get into any spoilers about that, be sure to hit the link up top, go watch. If not, it was a pretty bad race for us. Pretty eventful though. We did get caught in a major collision with our own teammate Nico Hulkenberg and George Russell, as a matter of fact. We ended up getting sandwiched. We took some major damage to the side pod and possibly the underfloor, and then that was pretty much race over for us. We did finish the race, but it was a measly, I think, P17, or maybe even lower than that. We were the slowest car to finish. Someone behind me DNF'd. It might have been Granny Joe. I don't remember. You guys can go watch. But yeah, not a great finish for us. So we're looking here to bounce back in Singapore, starting with this Q1 lap, which is going pretty well so far. We got a green sector 1. And then the other cars, not sure where they're currently at. So Carlos Sainz setting the bar with a 128, I believe it said there. And those lap times are going to be much shorter compared to the last time I was at Singapore in F123, because I believe this is the first time I'm racing Singapore with the track changes that they did at the start of Sector 3. So it's 2 turns less. Now it's just a long straight, which honestly I kind of prefer. If they had a DRS there, it'd be a pretty good opportunity for overtaking, just like a back-to-back DRS straights like in Austria. But we're at the end of Q1. We finish in P10, which is pretty good with a 128.7, just under half a second behind Carlos Sainz, and the 6th fastest car is pretty reasonable. Now heading into Q2, we put ourselves in a little bit of a pickle, going after our first lap with the 129.7, much slower than our first lap, but it was used tires. So second lap, we're going to slap on those fresh tires, and then hopefully we can squeeze ourselves right into Q3. I think if we put up a good lap here, we can definitely do that. Already improving by 0.2. We do have to improve by about a second in order to get into Q3. But we were on the scrub set of soft tires, and we got a purple sector 1 right at the end. So looking good thus far, just under 0.2 of an improvement. We did lose a little bit at that last turn on the first lap. I almost spun it there, but we're able to recover it, and now we jump up to half a tenth as we approach the bridge section. Now 0.6. It's going up very, very fast. Qualifying is complete. We got Bottas in front of us. Everyone is in front of us actually right now. Gasly, Hulkenberg, most importantly. We want to out-qualify him, and then hopefully get ourselves into Q3. Yuki Tsunoda through 2 sectors with the 103.9. We put up a 104.0, so just a little bit under Yuki Tsunoda's time, and then also not sure who's in P10 right now. It's not looking good though. The second half of the lap, not great. We had a little bit of wheel spin coming out of the bridge section, but through the final corners here, still just under 0.6 of a second. We crossed the line, 5.8 tenths of an improvement, but that will not be enough to get us into Q3. We're going to qualify in P12, and Nico Hulkenberg is going to be directly behind us in P13. He gets knocked out as well. Yuki Tsunoda knocked out. Esteban Ocon just squeezes in there by a few hundredths of a second over Yuki Tsunoda. But I think, all things considered, we outqualified our teammate. We put ourselves in a pretty decent spot to race for the points. We're going to have to do something ballsy at the start if we want to get into the points. So let's get into it. Let's see what we can do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Singapore Grand Prix, and we've gotten a little bit lucky here as Verstappen, Hamilton, Piastri, a few drivers have suffered from engine penalties. So we're starting in P6. I think that is something that they have to fix with these drivers taking engine penalties in 10 race seasons, because I still haven't even gone to my 4th engine yet. And I don't think all of these drivers have had massive DNFs or anything like that. So something they have to fix. But we're starting in front of our teammate Nico Hulkenberg, who we actually outqualify on our final lap. We're able to get one spot in front of him, so he's going to be right behind us. We're going to have to be quick, otherwise we're probably going to get team orders. We could probably get past Ocon in the Alpine, and then Russell might be a little bit of a battle. But I don't think... Sorry, I think if we get past Ocon, then we'll avoid team orders altogether, unless Hulkenberg also passes him. Currently sitting in front of Lewis Hamilton in this Drivers' Championship, so good thing that we are A, starting in the points, and then B, in front of Lewis Hamilton. If we could finish in front of him, we're looking pretty good for P9 in the Drivers' Championship, but there will still be, I believe, 2 more races after this one. We're going on the one stopper here as well. We're going medium to hard, but we will keep an eye just in case there is a safety car or something that might switch up the strategy for a lot of the drivers. There may be some drivers going on a 2-stopper, as that was a viable strategy or recommended strategy by the team. I chose to do the 1-stopper, so we'll see what we could do here in Singapore. Let's get on the grid. Alright, here we go for the Singapore Grand Prix. We got 5 red lights, and this race is underway. We're back racing. It's been a while since I've recorded an actual race. The last video you guys saw didn't come out, or I recorded that a few weeks ago, but we're able to overtake Ocon right at the start here. We got a good start off the line, and we're able to get right past Esteban Ocon. Hulkenberg actually falls back a little bit, so that is good news as well for us. We don't have to worry about team orders. It looks like going to turn on the battery, see if we can keep up with the front of the pack here. I doubt we will be able to do that. All these cars are ahead of us in the R&D charts, but traffic could possibly help us in this one. Alright, so we're heading on to lap 15 here, a little bit wide on the exit, that's fine, but we are going to box this lap. And nothing has really happened since the start of the race, where we jumped up into P5 after starting in P6. Hulkenberg has lost out, not sure where he is. I think he's somewhere in that pack behind me. But there seems to be like 3 groups of drivers. There's the front runners, and then the mid pack, and then the back runners. We're a little bit behind right now, but people are starting to pit, so everything's getting shaken up just a little bit. But yeah, Ocon is right behind me right now, but we have been keeping him a comfortable gap, and he hasn't really gone for a move on me just yet. That might change if we keep driving like this, trying to break the gap to Esteban Ocon. There might be a little bit of havoc in the pit lane, which I'm a little bit scared of. We don't want to get caught in traffic, because track position is king here. Very hard to overtake, as Ocon is learning firsthand right now, because he cannot pass me. But the rear right tire screaming at 41%. As we dive into the pits, I'm assuming that a few other drivers will be joining us. Did we get a penalty? No, we did not. Okay, perfect. So a lot of people coming out. I see Mercedes coming out. McLaren, I think, just went out. Aston Martin just went out. I think Esteban Ocon is pitting. So is Valtteri Bottas. So we need a good pit stop, guys. Come on. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. Nice. Beautiful. 2.4 seconds. We're going to get out back in front Granny Joe out of the session. Could that be a safety car? He's right at the final corner, I think. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a safety car or anything. As we get these tires up to temperature, we're sitting right now in P14. Pierre Gasly is in front of us. He was not in front of us before, so that might be a little bit concerning. He might have gotten an undercut done on us, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, so Gasly diving into the pits. Hulkenberg is in the pits right now. Is he going to get out in front of us? That's a good question. Let's see here. Okay, I don't see him, which is good news. So I think we're still sitting in P6. Actually, we were in P5 before. So either someone hasn't pitted or we got undercut. And I think it is the former. Someone I don't think is pit yet. I'm trying to see on the mini-map who's still there. Because there's no way they've built that much of a gap up. As Esteban Ocon now, not paying attention. Trying to get past. We're going wheel to wheel. And we're able to etch him out and keep the position. So, okay, I gotta get my focus back here and start trying to hold off Esteban Ocon, as he really went for the move there. We didn't deploy our battery or anything down that straight, I think. And he took advantage of that. But again, with it being so hard to overtake in Singapore, he's not able to get through. And we're still holding on to this P6. I'm not sure who hasn't pitted yet. That's what I was trying to figure out before Esteban Ocon went for that dive bomb. Around the outside. And so Sergio Perez hasn't pitted yet. And he's in the pits now. Should get past him quite easily, as he's just diving in now. Oh crap, okay, we got a VSC out. Who is got issues right now. So we're dropping our pace. And we actually got to speed it up a little bit. But who's out? What is the issue? I didn't see anyone out of the race, I think. I might have missed it. I tend to do that. I don't find out until I'm editing that someone actually DNF. I didn't see anything. It looks like everyone is moving. Actually, I think there was some sort of incident a few corners back. I think that is the bridge section. One of the Mercedes looks like they are stopped. And Hulkenberg dove into the pit, so I think he was involved in that incident. And is that a Mercedes as well? There's a few cars in the pits. No, it's an Aston Martin in the pits right now. He was probably involved in that incident near the bridge, but no safety car, so we're not going to get a chance here to catch up to the front of the pack. And we're just going to keep our head down here. We have pulled away from Ocon and Hamilton, who seem to be battling it out. So I'm going to start pushing, see if we can create a larger gap and then pretty much secure this P5 for Singapore. So we got a problem on our hands now, as Esteban Ocon, he's not able to hold up Lewis Hamilton and Sergio Perez as well. So they're both chasing me down now for this P5, and they are catching me very, very quick. Just like 2 laps ago, they were behind me by like 2 seconds, but the second Esteban Ocon got out of the way, they really just closed the gap. And now we just got to park the bus here and pray that we can hold on to this P5. Very important as well, because Lewis Hamilton is technically our Drivers' Championship rival right now. He's directly behind us by, I think, 18 points. So significant points that he can get on me today if he's able to pass me, and then even more so if Sergio Perez is able to pass me as well. As Lewis Hamilton tries to go around the outside, we're going to etch him off and then keep him right behind us for a little bit longer. Now we're just playing pure defense, obviously. We are not going to be catching the drivers in front. Lando Norris, who's actually suffering from a mechanical issue. So just like we did to Esteban Ocon, Lewis Hamilton gets right onto our rear. And then we just parked the bus on him as we head on to the final lap here. Sergio Perez is right with them as well. We've managed to hold Hamilton for the last like 10-ish laps or so. I'm not sure what lap it was when he got up right behind me, but we are holding him off very, very well, and it's looking like a P5. This is probably going to be his last chance here to try and do something. We've been managing the battery absolutely perfectly, just so we have enough battery for the straights and to hold him off, because he does have DRS right now. But with Singapore being very narrow, very twisty and turny, very hard for him to get a move done. And I forgot to charge my battery here down the straight, or through the turns, through sector 1 or sector 2, whatever it is. But yeah, we are holding him off. Sergio Perez still there. I hear the fireworks going off as Charles Leclerc goes on to win the Singapore Grand Prix. This is really going to be Lewis Hamilton's last chance here. We are going to turn on the battery. He falls down to 0.6 of a second. We should be good for P5. We got really lucky with this P5, to be honest, because the drivers in front of me had engine penalties, as you probably heard a few minutes ago. So we got really lucky. We started in P6. We overtook one position. And now, as we cross through the final few corners, we're going to add some points to our tally and get a net gain over Lewis Hamilton in P5. But that was probably the most boring race of the season. I apologize for that, but it is Singapore. It's usually a pretty boring race. But we got Vegas and Abu Dhabi up next, so those should be entertaining. But nonetheless, we hold this P5 to get 10 points, 2 points over Lewis Hamilton, and that will extend our gap over him to 20 points. And then we are 14 points back of Sergio Perez. So very small chance that we get Sergio Perez. It still is a possibility. And then actually looking there, we're actually not too far behind Carlos Sainz and maybe even Oscar Piastri, maybe even George Russell. That Piastri and George Russell are a bit of a stretch, but if we get really lucky in these next two races, have some good performances, it's a very small chance that we can overtake them in the Drivers' Championship. But my focus more is keeping Lewis Hamilton behind us, which I think we can do with these last two races. I'm pretty decent at Abu Dhabi. I think Vegas will be a little bit more of a challenge. I know in previous videos in F1 23 we struggled in Vegas, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, P9 in the Drivers' Championship, and then P6 in the Constructors. That's pretty much locked in at this point. Alpine is way too far behind us to even picture catching up to us unless we both DNF, and they both have massive points finishes for the Alpine. And then Nico Hülkenberg drops down to P17 after starting in P7. I think he was involved in an incident with one of the Aston Martins, and he had to pit again, so not great for him. Granny Joe, only DNF of the session. We're not going to hit an 81 overall today, but we have already achieved our contractual obligations to hit an 80 overall. That with 2 races left, again, unless we have horrible races in both of those, which I highly doubt, we should be able to keep this 80, maybe even hit 81 by the time the end of the season comes around. However, guys, that is going to be it for this one. As always, if you watch up to this point, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys know when the next video is out. Like I said, we got 2 races left, currently sitting in P9 in this championship. We got Vegas and Abu Dhabi. Perez is kind of within reach. Oscar Piastri and Sainz a little bit of a stretch, like I said earlier. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your support, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everyone.